Is your relationship frequently on the rocks? If so, then you might be trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage that is sure to keep you on a rocky road. Well, if you're looking for smooth sailing, then stay tuned as I'm going to share with you the top 3 mind traps that are sabotaging your relationship and how you can get out of them. Before we get into the 3 big mind traps that are sabotaging your relationship, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. If you are someone who is obsessed with personal development like we are and making sure that you live the absolute best life that is available to you, then make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified anytime a new video drops. We are here to help you get out of your way and on with your life in the best possible way. So thank you for joining our community. Make sure to subscribe, and now let's dive in. Self-sabotage affects everyone. In fact, I often say that it's like the Baskin-Robbins of limitations. It comes in many different flavors. It can affect you in your finances, in careers. It can affect your relationships, your jobs. It can affect your dreams and ambitions, your weight and nutrition. It shows up through procrastination, avoidance, numbing out, through yo-yo dieting and living paycheck to paycheck. Self-sabotage is going to show up for everyone. And if you think you're sabotaging your relationship, it might not always be as obvious as you think it is. Take my client Janine, for example. She was unaware that her desire to please and appease people was the biggest component to sabotaging her relationship. She felt distant and disconnected from her spouse. She would find herself reacting with frustration and anger. She would find that she was just constantly resentful, and she wasn't sure what the source of it was because her life was actually pretty okay. Well, at the root of it, it was her constant need and desire to appease and to please other people, aka people pleasing, that was at the root. She was being considerate of others without ever considering her needs and desires. And as a result, with working with me, we discovered this and were able to transform her relationship. This is why the information we're going to share here is so powerful. I want you guys to get your pen and paper ready because there's a lot of different ways that it can show up, and I'm going to start off with the 3 biggest mind blocks that are going to prevent you from having the relationship you desire. So let's dive into my number 1 biggest way that you might be sabotaging your relationship, which is absolute thinking. If you find yourself saying that my spouse never does this, and he always forgets, or she always is late, and they never respect my ideas, or they always are. This absolute thinking is one of the most toxic forms of communication and expressing of our viewpoints of our partnership that will sink and sabotage your relationship. All the emphasis is focusing on when and where they do things wrong without giving them any benefit of the doubt and not giving them any credit for when they actually do the thing that maybe annoys us. The reality is they might not be doing it to the standard of what you would do, or maybe just not as often as you would like. But it doesn't mean that they always or never do something. It's just, it's a different point between the two of you. So here's what we need to do. We want to start to eliminate these languages from your relationship. Instead of saying he never does the dishes, we want to recognize it's like, okay, he sometimes actually does do the dishes, but he might not do them as often as I'd like. And we can begin from this place to start to communicate with our partner, maybe how we would like them to do the dishes more often, or what does that exactly look like? What would balance that out a little bit, where it's not so accusatory. Because if somebody comes at you and says that you never do this, it's immediately going to put you in a very defensive, reactive state that isn't open for conversation, and thus is going to put you in a constant conflict cycle that will sabotage your relationship. Number 2, here's another big one that is going to be a surefire way that you are sabotaging your relationship, and that's when we're only focused on the negative aspects of them, the annoying aspects of them, the things they're not doing right, where we're in a constant state of criticizing and putting down our partner and spouses. Now look, I know that you're actually a really good person and you don't really want your other partner to feel that way. You just feel hurt, or you feel taken advantage of, or you feel that there's a big disconnect, or you desire something different. But how you go about advocating for those needs and filling your need bucket is going to be what matters. And if we're attacking the other person, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, whether justified or unjustified, all it's going to do is continue to create a bigger and bigger wedge in between you and your partner. Because they're going to feel on defense. They're going to feel that they're useless, that they don't matter. What's the point? Why should I even try? And when they're in that state of mind, you are going to be stuck in a conflict cycle. You are going to find that your relationship isn't going to heal when the other two people are constantly at war. So we need to have peace before we can move forward. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can go about doing this. Number one, we need to get really clear with what it is that we want and where this constant criticizing of our partner is actually coming from. I assure you, it is coming from a place of hurt or fear or frustration or anger. That needs to be resolved within you first. Now, again, maybe your partner did something that really did hurt you. Maybe they cheated or abandoned or were neglectful in some facet. Well, of course we want to set boundaries. We want to change that dynamic. We really do want to have better agreements and better communication with our partners so that we can have a more fulfilling relationship moving forward. However, you criticizing and blaming and cutting them down is not going to help the situation. So number one, you need to heal within yourself. We need to figure out how we can feel better about the situation and thus about them so we can get back to a neutral playing ground and we can build on a more positive foundation. All right, so if you need help with that, there are some awesome boundary videos you can watch here. Hopefully, these first two mindsets are helping you shift your mindset just a little bit to see where you can begin to alter and uplift your relationship in a little way. If there was one big takeaway or nugget, what was it? Comment below. I would love to know what kind of a mind shift you are making and how you too are seeing yourself in these first two tips. All right, let's dive into the next one. Number 3, this one is something just like my client Janine struggled with that is really, really predominant in a lot of relationships. And this is where we tend to not want to rock the boat. And it's where we're not speaking our truth or we get stuck into a people-pleasing mentality. This is a big way you might be sabotaging your relationship. Look, we love our partners and we want to see what's best for them and we really want to put our best foot forward. But if we're constantly doing stuff for them without taking our needs, wants, and desires into consideration, then you will burn out. It is a fast track to resentment, a fast track to regret, a fast track into disconnection. It is imperative that in relationships that there's equality, that their needs, wants, and desires, your children's needs, wants, and desires, and your need, wants, and desires are all being taken into consideration in every decision. Now, it doesn't mean that every decision is going to be balanced. There's some times where their needs are going to outweigh your needs. As long as there's a conscious awareness of the imbalance with the intent to rebalance or to shift to the other side, that's where you can get out of that cycle of self-sabotage. You guys, self-sabotage happens when we find ourselves at that breaking point in our relationship. When we find ourselves just ready to just cut and run, where we just had enough, we can't take it no more. And the wounds pile on top of the wounds, on top of the wounds, and year after year, decade after decade, it builds to the point where we can't go back anymore. We want to start to implement these different strategies and ideas right now to transform our relationships here. We can filter through all of the emotional baggage we've been carrying around to get to a place where we're healing and begin to ask for things that we need, to set better boundaries, to create more balance in our relationship. This is the ticket, you guys. This will get you out of self-sabotage. It'll get you back into a state of love and peace and harmony with your partner, because when you feel full and they feel full, then the relationship will be full as well. Remember, good people do better when they feel better. So let's start with what you feel. Okay, now that you know the top 3 ways that you might be sabotaging your relationship, it is time to do the inner work. Yes, pen to paper to do the reflection to see how these might be applying to you and in your relationship. That is the key to transformation. To help you do that, I have created a 2-page self-sabotaging worksheet that you can get for free for just clicking the link below. This is going to help you be able to go step by step through digging deep, really getting resolved and transforming these behaviors once and for all. This is my process that I use with thousands of my students, and it's yours right now, so click the link below. And if you're looking for a community full of people just like you who are obsessed with doing the personal development work, then you absolutely want to join our Facebook community, Rebels for Joy. This is your home for a community to learn, laugh, and grow, and to be able to find other like-minded people just like you who are committed to doing the deep inner work. So join now by clicking here, and we'll see you in the group. If you truly are committed to mastering your mind and ending the cycle of self-sabotage, then make sure to check out our other videos. We've got an entire playlist dedicated to ending the cycle of self-sabotage. I want to thank you so much for being a part of our Rebel community, and remind you not to forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a beat.